I thought Mr. T don't fly. I said, BA don't fly, fool.
Whip and cheer! Give me 50% more for the legend, Mr. T!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh,
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so humbled to be here, really. Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Mr. T.
I am honored and I'm humble, and I want to say I'm not worthy, but thank y'all for supporting me. Thank you for coming to see me, and as I tell everybody, as an actor, I try to do two things. I try to entertain and try to get a message across, and even though I play a tough guy, deep inside, I'm an old-fashioned, tough mama's boy. So thank y'all. Okay, please.
Come on,
all right.
Applause.
Yes.
Mr.
Wow.
T. And look at this outfit. How incredible. You look amazing.
Because I'm patriotic,
Love it. Well, the Scottish flag isn't as colourful, sadly, or it would have
But it's still good people there.
Yes.
Yes.
Is this your first convention?
This is my first convention, and I'm looking forward to a long, beautiful relationship with the people. So this is a trial run for me. So I'm on my best behavior. I want to do good, and I'm reminded what my mother always told me, said, son, you be on your best behavior. So I'm gonna be on my best behavior. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Y'all really don't know, this is not a Hollywood reaction from me. This is sincerely. I am so honored that you come out to see me. As I tell everybody, I'm just a humble kid from the south side of Chicago who had an opportunity and I took advantage of it. I never dreamed of acting. Here's who I am in a nutshell so you can know where I'm coming from. I have 7 brothers and 4 sisters. My father is a minister. My mother used to be a maid. She was a scrub woman. When I was 9 years old, growing up on the south side of Chicago on welfare and food stamps, I showed my mother a picture. I said, Mama, one of these days, I'm gonna be big and strong. I'm gonna be a football player and a boxer. I said, I'm gonna buy you a beautiful house, Mama, and I'm gonna buy you pretty dresses. I never dreamed of being in the movies. We was on welfare, food stamps. I was the captain of the football team in high school and a champion wrestler in Chicago. But before I went to school, my mother would knock on the neighbor's door to borrow a quarter and 50 cents. That's how poor we were, and from that's why I'm so charitable now. I do events, I make money, and I give it back to the less fortunate because that's where I come from. So that's my story, and my mother always would tell me whatever I do, she said, son, don't forget to pray. And don't forget the less fortunate. So that's who I am. I act tough. Hey, fool, I'm gonna get you. It's just an act, and but deep inside, so I just want to give you a background of who I am, So I'm ready to answer questions and all of that. I don't know, I haven't seen the questions yet, so there's no phony stuff going on, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna be truthful with you, I hope there's some tough questions. Now, I hope it's not no questions about science, like, hey, Mr. T, how far is the Earth feels from the moon? I don't know. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna say I don't know, I'm gonna tell you what I do know, and I'm gonna say I don't know that one. Well, I'm so silly. No. I'll tell you, we're gonna have fun. Thank y'all so much. God bless y'all. I remember one of the biggest compliments I got one time, a guy wanted to take a picture of me, and he took his picture. I said, thank you for doing that. He said, wow, Mr. T's the only celebrity to say thanks. Because next to God. Without you, where would I be? So I'm honored. That's why I'm grateful that you showed up to see me. You know, just a guy who, and people said, the critics said wouldn't last. They say I got lucky and rocky and stuff like that, you know. But nobody want to say it was hard work. I had to beat out 1,500 guys for that role. I never acted before. I got to confess. I did act in school. My teacher used to say, "Stop acting a clown." I'm sorry. So some of you might know I'm a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with cancer. I thank God for everything. I was diagnosed with cancer in 1995. And let me tell you the route. And the cancer is called, of all things, T-cell lymphoma. What kind of stuff is that? So anyway, let me get around, you know. So when the fame started, after Rocky III, then the A-Team started, you know, we film in different places in Los Angeles. And I'm loving on people, telling kids to be good, listen to the parents, don't do drugs, don't hang with the wrong crowd. You know, and so I had a big following, the kids. Then one of the production assistants told me, said, "Mr. T is a little kid, want to meet you." And I thought he was like other kids. I said, "Okay, bring him to the set." Then she said, "But he's dying." And it was through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And here I am. I said, "Wow, here's a kid that's dying, want to meet me. What can I say?" And then I called home, and first they thought that I was like some celebrity. Said, "No, tell them I'm busy." You know, and I don't want to get on the celebrities. It's a deep thing. You got to be ready for this here. And I told him, I said, "No, bring the kid, bring him to the set." I said, "First, I have to call home to my pastor. I'm a member of a church. I've been a member there since 1977. And I called my pastor named Reverend Hardy. I said, "Reverend Hardy, there's a kid that's dying. What do I say to him?" I asked him for words to say because I want to do more than just say, "I'm sorry, Billy." You know, I needed the words to say. And my pastor told me, he said, "Evidently, T, this young man, this kid, see the God qualities in you that you don't see in yourself. I believed in God, I prayed, but I felt I was going to another level, which I were." So the little kid name was Ryan. He had cystic fibrosis from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and he wanted to meet me. He came, and I loved on him and played with him, spent time with him, drove him around in the 18 van, let him feel my jewelry and touch my mohawk, and he laughed, and we spent about an hour together, and he had this oxygen thing strapped to him so he couldn't be too long. But he was with me for an hour, and his mother said, "We got to go," and he said, "How can I thank you?" I said, "I'm honored that he wanted to meet me." And when he left, I cried. Yes, tough Mr. T, black belt in karate, wrestling champion, all that. I cried when the little kid left. Then after that, other kids wanted to see me. And I told them, don't waste the time in red tape. Anytime a little kid wanted to see me, bring them to the set. One day there was 6 little kids there, some in wheelchairs, some in other. They wanted to meet me, and I loved on them. And you can't fool the kids. The parents at the time, you got to understand, they was a little frightened of this guy, Mr. T. You know, they said, "Ooh, wow." And the kids would say, "No, Mommy, Mr. T likes kids," you know. Then the parents would see my interviews and say, maybe a little bit, you know. So, but anyway, the little kids, some kids had cancer. And I would tell them, God love them. Don't give up. You know, keep believing. So now we speed up from 1983, 84. We speed up to 1995. I had a sore on my ear that it didn't heal. And then I went to the doctor. We did tests and stuff like that, and did some more tests and all other stuff. Then he came back and told me I had cancer. Then we said it was T-cell lymphoma. So I went through radiation, went through chemotherapy and all that. So what I'm saying, long story short, if I couldn't call on that same God that I told them little kids to believe in, if I couldn't call on that same God I told everybody else to believe in, then that meant that I was a liar and I was a phony. So when I stand here to tell you God love you, to be good and whatever, it's tried and tested. Like when I tell the little kids to be good, listen to their mother. That's what I did. Don't do drugs, don't hang with the wrong crowd. That's what I did. So I pray, so I tell them prayer works. I say, Lord, I never pray and say, oh, why me? Why not me? I say, God, give me the strength to do your will. So I'm here to tell everybody else, don't give up, don't quit, whatever you're dealing with. So everybody here, you don't have a sign on your head say, I'm depressed, I'm going through a situation. You know, everybody's dealing with something. So I asked God, I said, come in here. I prayed this morning. I said, God, I don't know who all I'm going to meet today, but I pray that when they see me, let them see you. When they hear me, let them hear you. Sure, I want to make you laugh, I want you to feel good, but really I want you to feel good after you leave. Say, wow, Mr. T took time with us. I just don't want to shoo you away. Okay, keep going, that stuff. I want to take time. Some of you want to hear some of your stories that, Mr. T, I remember you on this interview, how you talked about God, how they said this here, how you love your mother and stuff like that. That's who I am, you know. So I could, like Dr. King said, if I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer someone with a word or song, if I can show someone that he's traveling wrong, then my living would not be in vain. So that's my story of being diagnosed with cancer. I didn't quit. You know, cancer made me stronger. So God bless you. Bless you.
Thank you for sharing that, Mr. T.
Yes.
I wanted to pivot slightly and talk about your famous catchphrase. I can't remember it. What is it again?
I'm glad you brought it up. And this is good because people are going to learn. People ask me, say, where did that phrase come from? I pity the fool. So let me tell you, a lot of people don't know this here. It first showed up in Rocky 3, you know, and I want to tell you about pity. So if you pity somebody, if I pity somebody, actually that's a good thing. Because pity means mercy. And also, pity you'll find in the Bible. Also, you'll find the word fool in the Bible, you know. So, and the reason why I pity, see, it allows me not to hate. I don't want to hate nobody, but I'll pity you. You're not saying, look at that fool. God, needs pity, you know. So pity is good, you know. So that's where it comes from, you know. See, when the after we was filming Rocky, and Rocky, he want me to, see, the reason why I was so mean in Rocky, he was the director and the actor. So he told me, be mean, Mr. T. So I was acting, you see what I mean? You know, so I'm really not that mean. I act mean for the bullies, because they be waiting on me. I say, what you look at that fool? You know, try to scare them off. So, but like I said, then he told me, he said, all right, we're in the locker room, and you're trying to get me mad and stuff like that. What do you say? I'm trying to come back. I said, no, I wouldn't curse. I would say this here. He said, I pity the fool who try to take what I got. I will destroy any man. You know, so that's just, you know, macho talk stuff, you know, trying to get in his head. Since Rocky, I was offered all kind of crazy, stupid stuff. I said, no, I can't do that. I can't say that. If I'm telling kids in the street don't do drugs, what like me in the drug movie? I said, no, I'll pass on that. And to tell you something else about me, you know, trying to do the right thing, telling kids to be good, listen to their parents and all that. If y'all remember, that's how I got invited to the White House. First they invite me. Then, here's the funny part. When they check my background, you know, because you got to have a security clearance to be to the White House. Some of you might not know what I'm talking about. If you Google Mr. T and Nancy Reagan, you see me at the White House. I was dressed up like Santa Claus. And Nancy Reagan sat on my lap. Wow. And I gave her a Mr. T doll. I had some dolls back then for some of y'all, you know. So they checked my background. Born on the south side of Chicago, they checking it. No police record, no break-in robbery, no. Wow, let's check it again. Mr. T. They said, wow, that's something. Basically, they were saying, how did you grow up on the south side of Chicago, welfare, food stamps, crime over you, under you, and around you? How did you escape? I said, I didn't escape. I love my mother too much. I love my mother too much. I got in fights in school because kids wanted me to go against my mother's teaching. I love my mother because my mother used to scrub floors. She didn't say rob nobody. She scrubbed floors so I can go to school. My mother didn't scrub floors so I can be a thug, so I can break in somebody's house. How can I tell my mother I love her and I'm gonna snatch another mother purse?
I love hearing the stories, Mr.
Yes.
T. Thank you.
No, thank you. Because some people don't know that, so I gotta fill you in what makes me what I am. See, it's the front I act, whatnot, but deep inside, that's who I am,
So, this is from Tyson in Arlington. How did you first craft that iconic look, the chains, the mohawk, and the attitude? How did you craft that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, and it's good, I want people to know, now the gold image, I never wore gold to say I'm richer than somebody else. Everything I did was for a reason. I wore 7 earrings and the hairstyle, even though it's not Mohegan Indian, I don't want to be disrespectful to the Mohegan Indians. But back in the day, in the 70s, I was looking through the National Geographic magazine, and I saw some Africans had a haircut like this here, and they were from the country of Mali. They was called the Dinka Warriors, or some people call them the Mandinkas. And I said, wow, that looks sharp. And they had beads and stuff like that. So I started wearing my hair that way because I wanted to be different, And also the earrings, I wore 7 earrings, 3 in my right ear, 4 in my left ear. The 3 was symbolic of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. The 3 wise men, the 3 Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The 3 parts of the day, morning, noon, and night. The 3 graces, faith, hope, and love. The 3 civil rights workers, Cheney, Goodman, and Swerner. Then I wear 4 in my left ear. The 4 was symbolic of the 4 seasons, spring, winter, summer, and fall. The 4 directions, north, east, south, and west. The 4 gospel writers, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You put the 3 and 4 together is 7. It was 7 times that Joshua marched around the walls of Jericho. Samson had 7 locks of hair. There's 7 colors in the rainbow. There's 7 notes of numbers in the musical bars. God made heaven and earth in 6 days. He rested on the 7th. So that's what the gold represented things, So that's the story behind the gold. And then I stopped wearing the gold. Thank you. I stopped wearing the gold in 2005 when Katrina hit because I felt it would be insensitive and disrespectful for me to have gold and people lost everything. It'd be like me, look at me, I got this, and people suffering and dying. And my mother told me, son, never grandstand. But I have to tell you because I want you to know, my church, we had took in a lot of the people that lost their homes in Louisiana, and I gave my gold to my church. Some of it, I said, buy food and clothes for the people. That's who I am.
Thank you, Mr. T. In the A team, B.A. Baracus was a fan favorite. What part of that character felt most like you, and what part was mostly for television?
I'll tell you the part that wasn't like me. B.A. could fix anything. My car wouldn't start one day, and I called the repairman, and he laughed at me. He said, I thought you could fix everything. I said, it's on TV, fool. Man, I'll tell you something else funny. I was flying in yesterday, so I run into some smart aleck fans. They said, I thought Mr. T don't fly. I said, B.A. don't fly, fool. I didn't really say that. I didn't say, I said, no, B.A. is afraid to fly. Mr. T ain't afraid of nothing. I said, yes.
Mr. T, thank you so much for your wonderful words.
No.
Thank you for being inspiration for many decades, right up until now. And I really hope that you have a wonderful weekend in Dallas.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
You. Guys,
thank y'all.
Give on up for Mr. T.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much.